Alright, so let's start with the IK controllers. We have the FK set. You can turn on and off. There it is. You can turn on and off the right arm and left arm if you like. There it is. And you can also turn off the FK system. Hit Shift H just for right now. And I want to select my IK. Hit Control 1. Let's look for the rigging shelf or tab. And we're going to look for a skeleton, and we're going to create 3 IK handles, right? So open up the optional display. Just make sure that the first 2 IK handles, there. We're going to make just 2 of them, actually. One will be rotate plane solver, and we're going to start from the shoulder, and we're going to finish off the wrist, right? So that now we can easily go back and forth and have a very clean blend. Bend, not blend. Yeah, right? Hit Control Z right away, right? Alright, so let's just make sure that I select my skeleton again. Hit Control H. Oh, not H, sorry. Control Z. Control 1. And we're going to create another IK handle, but this time it'll be a single chain solver, right? And that'll be from the wrist to the hand. So that now, there it is. If you take a look at your IK handle, open up the outliner. There's the first one, right? There's the pull. I want to make sure that I select my controller and have it to IK, so that now if I were to select my first IK handle, you can see that there it is. This works. But what I want to do, did you notice that when I pull this back, the hand doesn't really lean forward, or not forward, but it does not follow world location. What I mean by that is that it's just basically following the elbow position, right? The elbow's direction. So what we're going to do is first rename the IK handle. So this will be my left L underscore IK handle, and this will be shoulder. And this will be my left IK handle, L underscore IK handle, wrist. Let's do hand. Hand will be better, right? We're going to take the hand IK handle, middle mouse drag it to the shoulder. Right, so that now when we select my shoulder and pull back, you'll notice that the arm now has this follow through with, there. It has a follow through with world location. And what I mean by world location is that when I pull back, you'll notice that the hand is straightened out, right? And that's going to help us a lot for the IK system. So once you have this working, we can actually take the, let's take the left FK controllers back to life. So we're going to look for FK left group right here. You'll notice that it is turned off. Shift H, bring him back. And let's write FL arm underscore, right? So that we can easily read this one. And we brought this to the other side as well, so we might as well do the same thing on that side, right? Let's do this. Look at that. That whole group is called wrist shape. No, it should be called right arm CTL GRP, just like the other one. Now let's call it GRP. Right, FK left arm, FK right arm. Okay, perfect. So I just wanted to grab this controller. Hit F so you can see it. Grab the upper group and hit Control D. Now I want you to hit Shift P and unparent it, so that now it's left in world space. Okay, so we don't need the FK control group anymore. Hit Control H. I just wanted to use it as bait for this controller, right? So now we have an FK controller. We can rename that controller as well. So this will be the IK left controller. Let's call it hand controller, hand CTL, right? Awesome. And let's also change the color to red, right? So you can easily select your attribute. There it is. I do believe it's under, it could be under display. Is it? I think it is. I'm not sure. Is it? I think it is. No? Or I can easily just use the red script. Oh, much easier this way. Okay, so now that we have one red controller, I also would like to create a, there. Use up arrow key. So we're going to duplicate this controller to create an elbow controller right here for the FK system. Right, so it's right here. I want to make sure that I hit Control D and Shift P so that now it's unparented to the world. Remember, that's just a copy. It's not the original. Right, so if I use spacebar and bring this to the back of the left elbow, we want to push this back, and also want to make sure that when the bend happens, the anticipation does not overreach the controller. Right, so we don't want this to overlap. I want to make sure that this is pushed back in this way, and you can test that out too if you want. Just select the IK handle and see how far it can reach. So that's fine. All right. So now that we have this set, I want to make sure that I use the alt script as well. So this is parented correctly. Rename the controller. That's very important. So let's reopen this one. And let's also go to display and shapes, right? Because it is double grouped, as you can see. Right, so this is the right, no, that's the left, L underscore IK. Usually I call it a pull vector, but we'll call this one elbow. And do the same thing for the next one. Awesome. Now we have the elbow controller for the left side, right? And let's use the freeze transform to clean it. Let's use the mirror script for the other side. Let's also use the, oh, no. Let's do this. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Let's select this controller as well. So this is the, we call this one IK hand controller. Control C. This is the group. Just make sure. See, I spend more time organizing and renaming everything so that I don't get lost, right? That's extremely important, and I think I cleared that out on the last tutorial. So this is the IK left hand control group. That's the whole group. Make sure that you mirror it to the other side. You can use the mirror script. Where is it? Where are you? There it is. Right? And as you noticed, remember we talked about symmetry and having your joints perfectly assigned. Yeah, it looks like it's pivoted perfectly. Right? So all we have to do for this one is switch L to R. Right? And do the same thing for the controller. You can use insert and replace tool, but that's fine. There are only 2 nodes to replace for naming. So I think this is cool. Alright, so I'm going to select the FK system as well here. Hit Control H just to hide it. So now we have the IK working. And this is going to be very simple for the IK. We're going to take that new IK handle, which was right here. Shift select the controller and hit the letter P. So that now when we select our IK, the IK is currently taking it. And just remember, freeze transform your controller so that, you know, no matter what you do and no matter how you, right, you'll notice that there's a shift right here. That's why we're going to create a pull vector. So no matter what you do, right, you can always go back and zero everything out. And this is why it's extremely important for you to clean the controller. Make sure that 0 values are set and 1 value on scales X, Y's, and Z's are assigned. All right, so let's create a pull vector, right? So we're going to select this controller and we're going to control select the IK handle for the shoulder, which was right here, right? Not the one that's here. And we're going to select, let's select skeleton, sorry. No, it's I think it's deform. No, it's skeleton for sure, yeah. And we're going to create a pull vector. All right, so let's create a pull vector. Is that under, oh, constraint, sorry about that. Let's create a pull vector. And you'll notice that now these joints are pretty big, right? Look at that. All right, so I'm going to select the mesh. I have ups and downs with pull vectors because I like to have this mesh perfectly assigned. And what I mean by that is if I were to select my mesh right now, here's what I mean. This tends to happen sometimes with pull vectors when you create a control for the elbow. But it does work. Right? So you may not see it. Right? There's no more shift now if I were to select my arm and rotate it. Remember there was a shift right here and you can see that the elbow was affected. So everything's working. However, if you double check the body and let's select the skin cluster and we do the same thing again, envelope on and off. Do you notice that there's a little twist right here? You see that? Yeah, I want to make sure that I take care of it. And we're going to take care of it manually. And I think this is something that we should discuss sometimes because when we work with Unreal Engine, I just want to make sure I have no issues. This is not going to affect it that much, but at least you'll know how to fix this small issue. And it's really not that crazy. Because if you were to select your pull vector, so now we have a pull vector, as you can see right here. The pull vector also carry attributes. Now, these attributes, there. If I were to select my pull vector right now, and let's just select, you know what, forget the pull vector, let's select the IK handle for the shoulder. There, sorry about that. Right, so there's an attribute for the IK handle, right? And there's a roll. It's not affecting it. There's a twist. You see that? There's an offset too. But the offset doesn't really do much. So we're going to work with the twist. Right? And with the twist, first I'm going to test the mesh. So I'm going to take the mesh, skin cluster, and see how far it twists. So it twists back a little bit. Right? So I want to make sure that I select the IK handle. It's a really quick fix. Twist, and we're going to twist it back just a little bit, right? And we're going to select the mesh and sort of like check back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So you notice that the twist now is not really that affected. So it's a manual job, but however, it makes me feel at ease knowing that there are no issues after. So I'm going to put it back, push it back just a little bit more so that now when we select the mesh, there it is. I was lost for words for a second. All right. Ooh, well, that's not good. I think I went too far. See that? One. Yeah, I'm gonna push back a little bit. So I'm gonna select my IK handle. I went way too far. Way too far. Select the mesh, skin cluster, and all right. So let's see. When it's on the original, it's there. All right, so we're going to push back just a little bit. One, yeah, it has to be pushed back. So let's select the IK handle for the shoulder. Select the twist. Select the mesh, skin cluster. Now it's even worse. Okay. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the IK handle. This is a little trick that I have. So if that happens, we're going to go to 0. Right? You can always go back and forth with the mesh. It's a little trick that I have. And what I usually do is I select my mesh and take the envelope out and make a copy. Hit Control D. Right, so now we have a copy. And what I'm going to do now is basically select my IK handle and select twist until, sorry about that, here it is. Sorry about that, I forgot to take the mesh back to the envelope on one. So we're going to select the shoulder. Sorry about that, there it is. And here's the twist, awesome. So I want to make sure that I align everything perfectly like this. Alright, so that now when I select my mesh, go to skin cluster, envelope 1, you see that? Kind of fits almost perfectly. So I'm going to select my IK handle again. I'm going to get very, very close to the mesh. Alright, select my twist until I have a perfectly aligned set there. I think this should be good enough. So if I were to select my mesh again, skin cluster, and there's the envelope, it doesn't really affect it that much. So this is not really quite that necessary, but then again, it's there. You know, now you know. Also make sure to delete the duplicate of the mesh. Right, so now we have everything working properly. We can hit Control-Shift-S, and this will be, let's do lesson 6, 01, capture thumbnail. This will be the IK system. Save. Awesome, save as. Let's make sure that the content browser has it. Boom. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So now that we have that working, we also want to create a follow through on the IK system. So I want my elbow to follow and unfollow. So in this IK controller, we're going to create an attribute on there. And we're going to call this one, right, elbow underscore follow. And we're going to use a different kind of data type. We're going to use an anim. And an anim basically has an on, it is an on and off switch. So when it's on, it will follow the elbow. And when it's off, it unfollows the elbow. Hit enter and hit OK. So that now, when we take a look at the controller for the IK system, we have a follow anim and an unfollow anim. All right. Now we're just doing this because we want this to follow sometimes and or unfollow. So when we get the mocap, it'll be your choice to see what you want to work with. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to select this controller, right? See where this controller stands. There it is. So mother, child, add a parent constraint, right? So that now if I were to select this controller, it follows. Right. Now this has a parent constraint. We're going to take that parent constraint. We're going to open up the set driven key. Go back to animation, key, set driven key. And this will be the driver. All right. So right now it is not following. Right, so if I were to, it is following, sorry. So if I were to move my IK controller, you can see that the pull vector is following, has a follow through, right? So we want to make sure that this is turned on. And this will be the attribute, as you can see, IK left hand controller. It will be all the way at the bottom. So select keyframe. Now select the controller and have it unfollow. It unfollows right here. So select the constraint and set a 0 value on that constraint and key it so that now when you move your IK controller, the elbow doesn't follow. If you make the switch to follow, now the elbow controller follows the IK system. Right, it's a very, very simple process. I think it is, compared to all the other features that you can have for rigging after. Um, don't miss it. I think it's very, very useful. And you can use this technique for everything, for the head, for the hips. You can have a follow through with the hips if you like. Sky's the limit, really, with rigging. So we want to make sure that we apply this to the other side, but not for right now. Why don't we just group everything together, right? So the IK system should be grouped. Right, so if I were to select this one and this one, you'll notice that, okay, IK left, left IK. Let's hit Control G. And we're going to call this one left underscore IK underscore arm underscore GRP. So this will be the left IK arm. Now, we already have this one going, so just make sure that you do the same process. So let's do the same process as well, right? Select your IK system and create 2 IK handles. Make sure that the first one is rotate plane solver. And we start from here to there. Now the second one will be a single chain solver, so we can recap what we did today. There it is. Rename the IK handles, right? So this one will be left underscore IK handle underscore, and this will be shoulder. The next one will be left underscore underscore, and this will be hand. Right? Always remember, take the hand, middle mouse, drag it to the shoulder. De-isolate the scene. Take the IK handle to the controller. Make sure that the controller is clean first. Hit the letter P. Alright, so that now we have the IK system going. Just remember that you select the switch, switch it to 0 so that you're working with IK. Now the hand also has a follow through with world space, which is what we need. Now we can select the controller, right? And select the hand group for the right side. Or I'm sorry, it should be, sorry about that, it should be the controller, right? So we want to take one more time the elbow controller, shift select the controller for the IK, right? And create a parent constraint. So now we take that parent constraint, left elbow controller right here. We open up the set driven key. I thought it was right here. Oh, I have to go back. Go back. Why do you do this? Set driven key. We want to have that attribute keyed out. So let's select the controller. Let's create an attribute again, right? Let's add an attribute. And we're going to call this one, what do we call the other one on the other side? Let's see, elbow follow. So let's do the same thing for this one. Select it first, right? So it'll be elbow underscore follow. And it's an enum. So first one is follow. And the next one is unfollow. Just select it and on. I know I put an S at the end. Hit OK. So that now when we select our IK controller, it's got the new attribute available. Right. Now I don't know why I have this is parented onto. This is not good. Not good. Not good. So it looks like I made a mistake. I did. Alright, so I'm going to select this parent constraint and hit delete. I'm going to select the controller. Control select the elbow. Just make sure. Okay. Control select the elbow control group. And use a parent constraint. There. It was vice versa, by the way. I knew something was off when I saw the constraint on there. So let's do this again. Let's make sure that we select the parent constraint and load as driven. All right, save the day, don't worry. All right, so let's select the controller as the driver, elbow follow. It's following right now, so if I were to select this, you can see that the elbow is following right now. All right, so everything's working out. Key it. But when we take the controller and go to on follows, just like we did on the other side, and I'm going a little bit faster, let's make sure that we select the attribute and set it to 0. 0, right? And key it so that now when we select the IK controller, there we go. That's what we want to see. Awesome, right? And just remember, you can still do this technique where you select the mesh, skin cluster, turn the envelope on and off. But you'll notice that this one's actually perfect. So we don't need to adjust anything on there. So that's fine. That's working. Kudos to you. I shall have a beer about this one. Ganzeister beer. Or is it Ganzeister? That's something else. But all right, so the IK is currently working. We hit Control S. Awesome. We're going to make an on and off switch now for the IKs and FK systems, just like we did for this one. And we will be done for IKs and FKs. We will move on to local global values after, and we're almost done, right? We're going to create not too many complicated controllers for the face, right? Just for the eyes, and maybe add a dynamic to, some dynamics just for the tail. We will need to download the bonus tools from Maya, and that'll be it. That's it. And we're going to test it out with some motion capture. Bring it straight to Unreal Engine. All right, so let's create on and off switches or visibility options for the IK-FK switch, right? So the first thing we want to do is select both sides, right? We want to select everything that we have for IKs and FKs. The FK left arm is not there, so hit Shift H, make sure everything is visible. There it is. What about the FK on the other side? That's leg. No. Left controller. No. So we want to look for the FK arm. Left IK. IK. Left IK control group. That's fine. Right. Let's also group these two together, right? Because it looks a bit confusing, right? So left IK arm. So I'm going to copy that name. Right. I'm going to select these two groups, hit Control G, and we're going to call this one right. IK arm group. You see how much better it is now? Now I don't get lost. Okay, so we need to look for the FK right arm, and you can see that it is hidden. Shift H to bring it back to life. So if I were to select my FK system through the groups, right here, FK, FK, IK, IK. You see how easy it is to now select? Everything has been grouped properly, so we can easily set these visibility values or attributes to be turned on and off, all right, during a switch. So we're going to set it. As you can see, we have 4 selection. And let's select the 2 controllers, left and right, load as driver. So let's start with the left side. So when the left switch is on 0 IK, right, we want to make sure that IK is turned on and FK is turned off, right? So let's do the FK left arm visibility turn off. And we're going to set a keyframe. And we're going to select the left IK arm group and set a keyframe because it's already on visibility. So now when we take the left switch controller and switch it to FK, we're going to go back to the left FK arm group. Right? It looks confusing because I should have put the L in the beginning, but that's fine. Right? So the left control group, turn it on, hit 1, right? And make sure that the IK is turned off. So let's set a keyframe, and let's make sure that the left IK arm group is turned off. And hit a keyframe so that now when we select the switch, FK, IK, FK, IK, and make sure that all of them work properly as well. Yay! Right? FK, IK. Awesome. Hit Control Z, go back. Let's work on the other side. Okay, so now selecting the right arm FK switch, it's on 0, so let's select the FK arms group, visibility, turn off, set a keyframe. Now, right IK arms group, it's already on. There. Select the switch and let's switch it to FK. So now it's on FK. Look for the FK right arm and turn on the visibility. Set a keyframe. And now let's look for the right IK arms group right here. So remember, it's on FK. Turn off the visibility. And hit keyframe. So that now when we select our controller, yay, FK, IK. Oh, no, it's not doing it. What's going on? All right, select the group. There. Oh, there it is. I wasn't doing it right, but that's fine. Okay. IK. Test it out. All right, and FK. Test it out. All right. Select it again. Awesome. Control Z. Save your work. Hit Control S. All right. Just remember, we have not made a cleanup. So if you were to test the rig, right, we need to make sure that we have everything parented correctly. And I will say this, that the FK system should be underneath the chest controller. So we're going to do that right now. There's the FK left arm and FK right arm. Right? So why don't we just shift select the chest controller, well, both of them are selected, and parent it on there. Right? So that now when we select the chest, we have the FK system following. We have a nice little follow through. So let's also test this thing out. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. See? The IKs are still out there, but the FK system is in. Right? The legs have a follow through too. You can test the rig out if you like. Yay! Okay. So we're almost there. Almost there. Let's make sure that everything is zeroed out and save your work. And I will see you for the local global values. We're going to do a little cleanup and start with the phase controllers.